certainly have the experience that I had at Venafi, but I have some beliefs as to where I think it's headed. I had a pretty good view into what's happening at other companies with my friends that are CROs. My daughter works at Snowflake, so I see kind of the wider landscape, maybe a little bit. But at Venafi in particular, we had a great year, and we didn't know, like everybody else didn't know at the beginning of the year, that it was going to turn into that. The important part was culturally, we were a work from home company already. I mean, that's the one thing I've primarily lived in Minneapolis for most of my career. And so I've been a work at home, work remote guy. I mean, granted, I traveled all over the world, but, I worked remotely, not at headquarters, for a significant portion of my career. And frankly, that's what companies are doing. And that it's one of the reasons I really love Venafi is they ran the entire company as a virtual company, headquartered in Salt Lake City, but our executives lived in 5 different cities. So I think that was the core for one of the reasons why Venafi so easily adapted to it. And we as a team really drove, pretty easily into the world of Zoom and really collaborating with our customers. So we ended up like literally right at the number for the year. Frankly, after doing a doomsday, and I remember talking to you about that, a doomsday scenario that, thought we might end up 70% of the number, given none of us really knew when we first were talking about Black Swan, et cetera. So the one thing I do see, though, and I believe has been trending for quite some time, probably 5+ years, and is going to get more and more important, is if you think about 5 years ago and how much we paid SDRs and how much of a function of the business they were 5 years ago to today, it's a completely different thing. Because before we were all focused on whatever we were going to close in a quarter, less focused on pipeline. Now companies are so focused on pipeline, at least I am, and the front end of the cycle, the 0 to 1s, or however, the SDRs measure it, some people call them MQLs, SQLs, whatever. The point is that the companies are so focused on that build because, frankly, what do they say? 67% of a sales cycle has already happened before they talk to somebody that's in sales. So my guess is that number has to have gone up during COVID. And It's probably not going back the other way because there's so much research people can do prior to ever engaging a salesperson, especially technical people, necessarily don't always love talking to salespeople.
Yep.
So that SDR function where, you and I used to have to pay, what do you call it, 60 grand a year, 5-10 years ago. And now those people are commanding, twice that much in at the high end, and they're really good. And it's an opportunity for people to get into sales at maybe more early in their career. And then I have a bunch of folks that are kind of seasoned career SDRs that have also been super successful in the world of Venafi. We have a pretty good balance of that. And my view is that job has become more important over the past 5 to 10 years, and it's going to become more important in the future because as we've done less, $5 million perpetual deals that you used to do at Salesforce and I used to do in the call center world. Now, a great deal is still, 500 million, million and a half in subscription. And that replaced that $10 million, $5 million deal you and I used to do 10, 12 years ago. And the repetitive nature of that is so much more important to a company and the predictability of that. So my opinion is that there's this, and that used to be the whale enterprise sales guy or woman that got those $10 million deals, and it was all based on relationships, and they went to dinners and golf. And, I don't know, when was the last time you had a steak dinner that cost, $500 at whatever that place is in New York that we all used to go to, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen anymore. So my view, and COVID is part of that, but my view is that this is all compressing, right? And in terms of the engagement of the customer as part of the overall cycle. So more is being contributed by the SDR. The enterprise people still have a significant component of it, especially in enterprise accounts, but in the mid-market, there's a middle ground. And so I just believe over time, the pay is going to compress and the responsibility is going to compress as well.